Yes.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Sisler.
Yes.
Mayor. Merriman, please.
Yes. Okay. Time for public comment and inquiry, please. Anyone care to be heard on any matter returning to the township?
Good evening, Diane Holland, 26 Northridge Place. 207-18. If the county owns the road, what payback do we get to maintain it or support?
All the tax revenue that we're going to take in from the new housing development and commercial development.
And that would be real estate tax, because we don't get a share of sales tax.
We have a pilot program there, but effectively you're correct, but there's a special long-term tax exemption, you heard those
Right.
resolutions.
So there was really no tax coming in to, oh, I know you talked about it last month, so there sort of is, there sort of isn't.
It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're going to get in additional tax revenue.
Starting when the first store opens?
Yes, but we're also maintaining what they currently were paying us. There's another agreement with Colgate and bought that, so we're not losing any tax revenue while this is going on.
Okay, all right. And then another topic that I brought up in the past, where it would be helpful if at the end of the committee person's commentary, if we had a moment where we could ask again about that period, just that commentary would have saved not having to come back on 2 meetings. And I used my cell phone today to try and find the actual meeting date by looking for minutes, and it may be that the cell phone doesn't work to the same extent that a laptop does, but I couldn't get past the Morris Township page on my cell phone. Anyway, I believe the meeting was on May 24th, where the first proposal for the St. Elizabeth's property was approved by Mr. Mancuso, Mr. Sisler, and Mr. Nunn. And then the Reed Greens there was a lot of controversy, and then it went to discussion, and what was originally an 8 townhouse per acre agreement, or I guess it's an ordinance. I'm sorry?
Perhaps, sir.
Which is it, an ordinance?
It was an ordinance.
An ordinance, when that was approved with 8 townhouses per unit. Then I believe it was on August 18th, that the revision came back with 6 townhomes per acre. I have a question for Mr. Sisler as to why he approved 8 townhouses per acre back in, I think it was May, but then in August voted against it. And I would have asked him at that moment, but we're not allowed to do that. And so I came last month, and Mr. Sisler wasn't here, so I'm back again, and we all could have avoided a lot of extra time. So it's a 2-part thing. So Mr. Sisler, I have a question as to how it was originally you felt that the 8 townhouses per acre was acceptable, and then voted that 6 townhouses per acre was not acceptable.
Well, I am not going to apologize for the September meeting. It was my 20th wedding anniversary. I apologize that you had to drive down the road to come here for that meeting, but I would have had hell to pay.
I'm not asking for an apology, but what I'm saying is,
well, and you were here at the meeting, and I think you heard me speak to some folks afterwards, and what I said was that it had nothing to do with the density of that particular project at that time in August. There was significant questions and significant issues that were brought up at that meeting that I felt that, you know, we could have done some different things, or potentially looked at some different areas. So I didn't feel that I needed to vote yes on that particular ordinance that evening.
So
I was
in-
listening to you, is the short answer to the question. I was listening to you.
But in May,
But I was listening to your comments in August, when you all brought them in here for the final vote. Okay?
fine.
I apologize.
And I'm
Maybe I
happy-
shouldn't be
happy-
listening to you, but I bet you if I did, you'd be mad that I wasn't listening to you, so I apologize for that too.
And congratulations on your 20th anniversary. If, however, we had the ability to ask the committee,
Ms. Holland, it's been asked and answered, please. You know, it's not cross-examination. You have some remarks, you had a question, Mr. Sisler answered it.
I
And
understand.
you're seeking to press on with the same question. If there's something new, fine. If it's exploring the same ground you previously tilled, I would ask you to move on from that.
Thank you.
The proposal that she's making is a
Whoa, whoa,
different
It's,
question.
Mr. Mills, it's okay. It's political campaign season, and I think we all understand what's going on, so it's okay. Let her go.
Actually, I've asked that this be considered well before political campaign season. And it's just something I think would be beneficial because then you get continuity. And so I thank you for providing the continuity today.
Anyone else care to be heard? Ms. Young?
Susan Young, 35 Schoolhouse Lane, Morris Township. For those who are in the audience, I have an announcement if I could make. Tomorrow we are hosting our police chief, Mark DiCarlo, who will be at our Washington Valley the schoolhouse tomorrow night. So if anyone has any questions for the police department, Detective Heather Gokolich will also be there. So we open at 7:30, Schoolhouse Lane, and Washington Valley Lane, 146. So if you'd like to come out and ask them questions, find out more about the programs that they provide, you're more than welcome to do that. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate Tim on 40 years of taking care of us in the township. I've been here since 1953, and there have been many changes, some good, some not so good, but that's because of the pressure that we have to change. The audience in the township is very vast, and the culture of our neighborhood is changing. I've been fortunate to volunteer on two committees and 2 commissions, plus the community garden, which we are wrapping up our 3rd year, regardless of the rain that we've had, and the groundhog and the raccoons. But you can't be a warm seat on any of those commissions. It takes time, thought, effort, and commitment beyond the formal meetings. And I admire the work that Tim Quinn does, his work ethic, his leadership, his philosophy, echoed to his team. I know that they work anywhere from 60 to 70 hours a week, sometimes 15 to 17 hours a day. And I'm fortunate to work with the Parks and Recreation, the DPW, and the engineering departments. And I'm always amazed and astounded at their knowledge of Morris Township. I want to thank the secretaries who support the board and the committees. They're invaluable to what we do. And Tim, I've relied on your expertise, your guidance, and certainly your patience with me as I learned the tasks of the commissions. And we are fortunate to have you and your team at the helm of the day-to-day operations in the township. And I hope that this committee, no matter what the future, will continue to value Tim's commitment, his versatility, his contribution, and expertise for years to come. Thank you, Tim.
Hey, thanks.
Anyone else in the public care to be heard?
Yes, good evening. My name is Pamela Watson. I reside at 2 Clay Road. I have a couple of questions here. One is concerning last month, the attorney for the Colgate project said that the the land was contaminated, and I was just wondering, I don't remember his name though, the attorney. Do you have that?
It was a lady.
For the new owner of that property?
It wasn't the attorney for Colgate, it was our redevelopment attorney.
It was your redevelopment. Okay, it was it. They said that the contamination was going to be cleaned up. I was just wondering, when is that scheduled for and who's cleaning that up? Has that been set?
No, she was talking about old contamination that had been cleaned up as part of the redevelopment process.
So
She
then,
wasn't talking about new contamination, she was talking about older contamination that was done for that site that had to be done when it was there and taking the building down.
okay, so all that, the cleanup has been completed for that site?
Yes, ma'am.
Couldn't proceed unless we had, unless that occurred.
The other question I have is concerning the Collinsville Playground. I understand that the installation has been delayed, and I was just wondering why.
The consulting engineer was working on getting some footing diagrams from the manufacturer that would delay that. We have gotten all that, it's been submitted. The issue is that because the Township Committee has a very early meeting in November, we don't meet the statutory requirements in getting the bid out. We have to have it out for 10 business days before the Township Committee can award, but we can't have bid openings on Monday or on Election Day. So we're going to move that to the December meeting and award the contract at the December meeting.
In December?
Mm-hmm. The bid's going out later on this week, beginning of next week, and then we'll take the bid sometime in November, and then the next Township Committee.
Bidding's supposed to take place in September? No?
No, ma'am.
Okay, there's also some work being done though in the playground, in the volleyball area.
Correct, that's our own work being done. We're putting the volleyball courts doing, plus we're putting in additional fencing that was damaged during the storm. But that's work being done by us, not by what we're going to do with the playground equipment that's going to be installed at different projects.
Okay, it's not, you're not putting in the sand or anything, you were just replacing the fence?
We're replacing the fence, and they're also going to address the sand with the volleyball courts.
Okay, so you're gonna put the sand in now, in the fall?
I would have to double check with Mr. Pulse, but I believe they're going to do some work on that, yes.
I was just wondering because, is anybody gonna be out there in the fall and the winter playing volleyball?
Getting
In that
ready.
area? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't play volleyball.
Fun sport.
I didn't know, that's why I was asking. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
That's all the questions that I have for this evening.
Thank you.
Would anyone else care to be heard?
Jeff Brazel, 1 Indian Head Road. I also would like to congratulate Tim on his 40 years. It's hard to match Sue Young's eloquence and stating all of your accomplishments, but congratulations and thank you for your service to the township. My question tonight is regarding the intersection of Martin Luther King and Hanover Avenue. So right across from ShopRite on Hanover side, there's a new development. Do you guys know what's going in there?
The office building?
I don't know what it is. All I see is the shell. Do you know what, it looks like there's going to be a clock tower in the front, but I don't know what it's going to be.
I believe it's just an office building with office space that's going to go into that one on the one corner.
Okay. And given the development that we're doing on the Colgate property, has the county been involved, or I should step back, have we talked to Hanover about any regional planning? Has the county been involved in regional planning? And I'm just wondering what's going to happen at that intersection.
We did a whole study on that. The Route East Hanover Avenue corridor study was done in reference to our municipalities along with the county a number of years ago. And they have made some improvements to that intersection already with the turn lanes and the timing on the signal.
Great. But are there any additional improvements that are scheduled?
Not at this time.
Okay. Has the county been involved in taking a look at our Colgate proposal in addition to the Hanover proposal to see what impacts it's going to have on that intersection? Is the county involved at all?
Of course. Any project along County Road has to go before the County Planning Board. So they've been well aware of it, and it's been before the County Planning Board.
Okay. And have we gotten any response?
Yes,
And what might that be?
we're moving forward.
Okay. Did they project any intersection improvements being needed?
Not this time, because they already made them as per the East Hanover Avenue corridor study that was done a couple of years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else care to be heard?
Well, good evening. I'm Christina Simpson. I'm from 57 Highland Avenue. So I was sent to ask about the playground, but you guys have already addressed that. But since it's been delayed for reasons, I don't know. Anyway, in the meantime, all summer, the children have been playing in the street, and cars have been speeding down Highland Avenue. So I think that something needs to be done about the traffic there. Maybe, I think many people don't want speed bumps. I think maybe a sign that says no through traffic, or local traffic only, or I think one-way streets, because our neighborhood shouldn't be a cut-through for anyone. Our neighborhood is not there for other people's convenience. People speeding through are not residents. And it's very dangerous, and the children don't have anywhere to play. I feel that there's an obvious bias because it's an Asian community and a minority community and a lower income community. And I don't think it's a lot to ask for a sign or maybe a stop sign at Cedar Street, just to slow the traffic down. I stand out there and I yell at the cars as they're speeding by. I tell them, slow down, because they're on their way. They're cutting through to beat the light, and the kids have to rush out of the way. We have kids playing in the street who are not even in school yet. So I think that needs to be addressed. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, and like I said, either a sign that says no through traffic, or local traffic only, or one-way streets, or something that's going to slow the traffic down. And I'm not particularly asking for more police presence, because then we start to feel profiled and targeted when the police are just there for nothing. I mentioned this before at the town, at one of these meetings, and I think they put a police at the end of where Colgate is, or where Menon was, to watch the traffic, and I don't think they really saw anything. Or maybe they weren't looking for speeders. Maybe they just like to be present in our community, I don't know. But the children are really in danger there because of traffic.
Are you talking about Highland?
Yes, Highland.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought you said Hanover.
No, 57 Highland Avenue, the street after one.
I don't think anyone on this committee looks at a neighborhood being in a lesser socioeconomic situation, as you indicated.
That's hard to tell, because the playground has not been done, so.
It's being, ma'am, it's being done. I mean, we're doing everything we can. We couldn't control the weather. We did everything we possibly could to get this done.
We're able to control it now.
And it will be done by springtime. You'll have your playground and everything will be done. But please don't ever characterize us as having a feeling of a lower economic bias for anyone.
Right, nobody likes to be targeted in that way or accused in that way. I understand.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure thing.
Anyone else care to be heard?
Hi, Mark George, 61 Alexandria Road. First, congratulations, Tim, on your milestone with the township.
Thank you, sir.
And secondly, I just wanted to come up and thank the town for working so well with my fire company, Hillside Hose, for helping us out with our Oktoberfest this past weekend. We had a fantastic turnout. And it takes a lot of work and effort from our volunteers, but also the town, from the Parks and Rec Department, and the DPW, and any other departments that help us out with the event. was a great neighborhood event. A lot of residents came out, and we look forward to working with you more in the future. Thank you very much.
My 2 grandchildren were there, and they had a wonderful time, so thank you very, very much for helping to plan that. Anybody else care to be heard?
Hi, my name is Kimberly Brown. I live at 2 Carlton Street, and I came in on the tail end of why the Collinsville playground has been delayed. I heard that the bids haven't gone out, or the contractor, or you all haven't worked it out with the contractor. Okay, so my guess and my hope is that, like you said, the playground will be ready in the spring for the children. I don't foresee people working in December and January and February on it, but let's hope that it will be ready for the children in the spring. And I would really like for you all to put some swings in that playground. A playground is not a playground for children unless it has swings, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else care to be heard?
Good evening, Peter Gallerstein, 38 Laurel Lane. I came before the council a number of months ago when headlines were chock full of school shootings, and fortunately now, even though the slaughter with guns continues in our country, it doesn't seem to be front page news anymore. And I asked the mayor if he would join the 100 communities presently in the state of New Jersey whose mayors have simply stated that they would like to see gun violence decreased. I know I gave you a copy of the statement from the organization Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and it really had nothing to do with passing laws. It just really was a statement of decreasing the violence. And I take it hasn't been signed, because when I look up on the website, I'm troubled. I'm just a little embarrassed to say that Morris Township has not joined other communities such as Morristown, Madison, and as I said, 100 communities across the state of New Jersey in signing this thing. And I remember when I gave out pieces of the literature, they had basically one sheet of paper. I don't know if I was supposed to hear it, but Peter, you and Mr. Mills turned to you and said, you know, Peter, it's not really a big thing. There wasn't any laws to be passed, there wasn't any laws to be broken, there wasn't any rights of people to carry or not carry guns, that you were entering into some horrible fray. It basically was a statement that we're distressed by the violence that's going on and we'd like to do something about it, or at least we're aware of it. So I'm very dismayed that nothing was done.
I just think, Peter, it goes without saying that we're against violence using guns or in any violence in any way whatsoever. And it almost seems specious to me to have to make a statement to agree with that. Of course you agree with that. You'd have to be, you know, you'd have to be Neanderthal not to agree with that.
Well, I respectfully disagree with you, Peter. I think that I won't say you'd have to be a Neanderthal not to sign it, because that's not what I mean, and I won't say it. But I think to say that, well, it goes without saying, I don't think it goes without saying, frankly. I think that's what happened, what is happening in our country, where there are close to 100 gun-related deaths a day, per day, where one a day would be too much, but 100 a day is obscene. Obviously, to me, it doesn't go without saying that we're for this or against this. And I think that it's incumbent upon us as a community and for this council as elected officials of our community to say something, to not remain silent. Because I think, as you said, it goes without saying, isn't cutting it. Just isn't cutting it. And if we don't start at the local level, we'll continue to be the leading country or developed country in the world where gun deaths are out of control. And again, these are statistics that may be somewhat biased, I grant that, but 3.6 deaths per 100,000 population in this country, whereas 0.6 would be too much. So I respectfully disagree with you. I don't, for the life of me, understand why this can't be done. And I would love for you to do it. And I know we have an election coming up, but I'd love to see it done by this council and this mayor.
If you wish, take a look at that statement. I don't recall reviewing it before, perhaps I did. Let me take a look at it, take it under advisement. I mean, if it was as simple as you suggest, I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
I promise you, I'm not misquoting you.
This is a public document, right?
It's online, it's easy. It's online. I handed it out before, and Mr. Mills.
Okay, they're going to take a look at it.
This is across the country, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did the mayor of Chicago sign it? The mayor of New York? The mayor of LA? Do you know?
No.
I'm just wondering. No?
I believe, yes, New York was listed.
Okay.
I did not look for Chicago. I'm from the Bronx, so.
Thank you.
Anyone else care to be heard? Not